season. My name is Mike Browning. I'm the host of the College Football Road Trip. It's cfbroadtrip.com. And I gotta tell you, I'm super excited about this week for a multiple number of reasons. Reason number one is I'm finally feeling healthy. This is the best I've felt in about 3.5 weeks. So I'm glad that I can come to you, not have to worry about coughing and sneezing, and just be able to give this video pick this week. So that's awesome. Reason number two, just a couple days ago, I posted about my trip to Nebraska for the OU Nebraska football game a few weeks ago. I had an amazing time in Lincoln. Memorial Stadium is one of the most beautiful stadiums I've ever seen a game in. So go check out everything I did in Lincoln, in Omaha, and you can also check out my Kansas State trip from the week before as well. So go and check all that out. Reason number three I'm excited about this week is there are so many amazing games. We have 6 ranked versus ranked matchups. That's the most that I can recall having in a single week in a very long time. So just a ton of really great football games. So with all that said, let's go ahead and jump into this week's picks. We're going to start off with a couple non-ranked matchups. First one is out of the SEC. We have Lsu traveling to Florida. LSU is a team that obviously after they lost their first game of the year fell a little bit. They slowly climbed back up but lost again last week. Florida is a team that had their big win against Utah in week 1 but has struggled a little bit since then as well. So this will be intriguing to see which one of these teams will continue to struggle along the way. What team will be able to have a little bit of a reprise in their losing ways. Florida is the home team in this one, so I'm going to go ahead and give them the edge. I have Florida winning over LSU in SEC play. Next, let's jump over to the Pac-12. We have another intriguing matchup in the Pac-12 North. We have Washington State traveling to Oregon State. Both of these teams got off to a hot start of the year. They struggle now that they've gotten the Pac-12 play. So I think this is kind of an elimination game in the Pac-12 North. Whatever team loses this game is definitely out of the Pac-12 North competition. The winning team still has a little bit of a chance. Obviously, they have Oregon and Washington still to compete with as well. I'm going to go with the same scenario in this one, and that Oregon State is the home team in this matchup. So because of that, I'm going to give them the edge. I have Oregon State winning at home over Washington State in Pac-12 play. Next, we have a Big Ten matchup. We have Minnesota traveling to number 24 Illinois. Brett Bielema obviously is doing a great job with Illinois. He has them ranked. I don't recall the last time Illinois has been ranked. They had struggled for years and years. So it's good to see them kind of get back on track. Minnesota is not ranked, but they've had a decent year up to this point. Again, this is going to be kind of an elimination game in the Big Ten as far as the team that loses this is probably going to be out of the competition. Once again, I'm going with the home team in this one. The home team in this one is Illinois. So I have Illinois winning at home over Minnesota in Big Ten play. Next, let's go to ACC play. We have number 4 Clemson traveling to Florida State. Clemson is a team, they're number 4 in the country. I'm still not overly impressed with Clemson to this point, but they had the big win over NC State. You got to give it credit for that win. That's why they were able to move up a spot from 5 to 4 over Michigan. Florida State is a team that's started to look a little bit better this year, but they're not quite to that elite level yet. And so because of that, I think it will be a close matchup. I think it will easily go into the second half close, but Clemson will do enough to pull away in the fourth quarter. Number 4 Clemson winning on the road at Florida State in ACC play. Next, let's go to our first ranked versus ranked matchup, and it comes out of the SEC. We have number 16 Mississippi State traveling to number 22 Kentucky. Just a couple weeks ago, Kentucky was in the top 10. They were undefeated. They have since lost a couple of games since then. They had the loss to Ole Miss a couple weeks ago. On the flip side, you have Mississippi State, who has looked really good. They had the big win over Texas A&M. Mississippi State is continuing to try to move up. And unfortunately, Kentucky is kind of on the slide down. And I think that's going to continue this week. The hot team is going to remain hot. and the hot team is Mississippi State. Mississippi State winning on the road at Kentucky in SEC play. Next, let's go to a ranked matchup out of the ACC. We have number 15, NC State, traveling to number 18, Syracuse. Syracuse, I think, is one of the bigger surprises of this year. The fact that they are this far into the season and still undefeated. Granted, they haven't played the toughest schedule to this point, but still to be undefeated is a great feat for them after how they have competed the last 2 to 3 years. NC State, as I mentioned, is coming off of that loss to Clemson. They need to be able to bounce back this week. I think they will do it. I have NC State winning on the road at Syracuse in ACC play. Next, our next ranked matchup is coming out of the Pac-12. We have number 7, USC, traveling to number 20, Utah. USC obviously up in the top 10. They're undefeated on the year. Offense still looks great. Defenses still have the struggles. They did look a lot better last week. They had a full, complete game put together. That's good for them looking forward. Utah, obviously they're down to number 20. They've lost along the way. USC, I think, just has a little bit too much for Utah this week. I have to pick them as the road team in this matchup. Number 7 USC winning on the road at number 20 Utah in Pac-12 play. Next, let's go to a Big 12 matchup. This looks like it's going to be a great matchup. Number 8 Oklahoma State traveling to number 13 TCU. Oklahoma State is a team that I think is still way below the radar, even though they're the number 8 team in the country. They've looked impressive most of the year. Obviously undefeated. TCU is also undefeated. They've break their way from unranked all the way up to number 13. They have their big win over Kansas last week. That was an amazing matchup. Oklahoma State is a team that I still think wants to prove that they are the class of the Big 12. In order to do that, they have to be able to go on the road and win over an undefeated TCU team, and I think they will do just that. Number 8, Oklahoma State will win on the road at number 13, TCU in Big 12 play. Now let's go to our top 10 matchups. Our first one is out of the Big 10. We have number 10, Penn State, traveling to number 5, Michigan. Penn State is another one of those teams that really nobody is talking about. They struggled in the first week of the year and have had to slowly move their way up after that. Michigan, obviously number 5 team, undefeated on the year. They've also had a couple struggles along the way. That's why they've fallen from 4 to 5. That's why Clemson was able to jump them this week. I think they want to show that they belong in the top 5. The Big 10 East overall is just probably the best division in all college football between Michigan, Ohio State, and Penn State. Ohio State, Penn State, and Michigan. So Michigan has to be able to win this game. They want to be able to compete in the Big 10 and go into that matchup at the end of your Ohio State. They will be able to win this game this week, especially playing at home. Number 5, Michigan wins at home over number 10, Penn State in Big 10 play. And then finally, our other top 10 matchup of the week out of the SEC. Number 3, Alabama, traveling to number 6, Tennessee. What an amazing year so far for Tennessee. Josh Heupel has Tennessee all the way up into the top 10, all the way up to number 6, undefeated. Couple big wins so far along the way. They want to be able to compete with Georgia in the SEC East. Alabama dropped from number 1 down to number 3 this week with their struggles against Texas A&M. They seem to always struggle against A&M along the way, or struggle at least against 1 or 2 teams each week. They always seem to rise to the occasion when they have these big matchups along the way. I think this might come down to whether or not Bryce Young is back this week, and I think that's still questionable. But Nick Saban's going to have a trick or 2 up his sleeve to be able to pull this one out of the end. It's going to be an amazing game. It's going to go into the 4th quarter. Alabama will do something along the way to be able to pull this out in the end. I have number 3, Alabama, winning on the road at number 6, Tennessee, and SEC play. So like I said, some amazing matchups. I'm super excited about this week's games. And then next week, I'll be back on the road for the BYU Liberty game in Lynchburg, Virginia. So I'm excited to be back on the road for the next 2 weeks after this week's games. So in the meantime, go enjoy all the amazing ranked versus ranked matchups this week. Enjoy the games. We'll talk to you all again next week.